Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. I am your host, Karina Calhoun. I am your expert life strategist. This is Go Be Great with Coach Karina, and I have a special guest, an amazing featured guest on the show today, and I'm super excited. I'm not going to delay. Elizabeth, how are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I am wonderful. I am wonderful. So, Elizabeth, tell us, where in the world are you?
I'm actually in London, in the UK. That's where I'm speaking from. And I'm absolutely excited to be on this podcast because I've been watching your show for a while. And when the opportunity came for me to apply to be on the show, I just took it. So I'm really looking forward to today.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Thank you for being a faithful supporter. Thank you for coming in and adding your expertise, your jewels, your gems. I am thrilled to have you on the show today. Elizabeth, tell us, how are you loving on the world around you?
Right. That is a very loaded question, but I'm going to start with maybe something personal about me so people get to know me a little bit. So, not just this voice from London. So, I am of originally, my parents are from Africa, from Nigeria. I was born in the UK and went to school for a little bit in the UK, then was taken back to Nigeria, then came back to the UK to complete my education. So I became a scientist, I became a microbiologist. I worked in a hospital for about 13 years. And then I remember thinking to myself, I do not want to do this for the rest of my life. I had done the proper daughter thing because African parents, everyone knows it's all about education, very strict. You've got to do exactly what they tell you to do. But I thought I want to do other things in my career. So went off, did an MBA in business school, and then I became a headhunter in the city. I started recruiting chief executives, finance directors, marketing directors. I mean, name it. I recruited C-suite executives and chairmen, etc., for different industries. But it was very stressful. And then 2008 happened, where there was again a recession, a crash, and I lost my job.
Mm.
However, while I was a headhunter, I had a very tiny side hustle, and the side hustle was making cakes. And I remember one of my bosses actually said that, you need to do this full time. But I thought to myself, why would I do cakes full time when it wouldn't make me any money? So I thought it was something I would do maybe when I was 60, retired, etc. But when I was made redundant in 2008, I decided to just go for it and set up my cake business. And then something exciting happened. I applied the same principles that I used as a headhunter, which was cold calling. So as a headhunter, I was supposed to make 100 calls a week
Mm.
on top of your normal job. So it's cold calling every day. So that's 20 calls a day. So I never quite made the 20 calls, I'm going to admit. However, I learned to take rejection and I learned to accept feedback. So I did the same thing in setting up my cake business. I was just calling planners, calling hotels. And then one day I got a lucky break. I think that was caller number 100 or something, because I knew I had done over 100 calls. And I just took the yellow pages and called. And the voice at the other end, a young girl, she said, "Oh, do you make cupcakes, by the way?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And I said, "Give me 3 days and I will drop some samples in your offices." And, and the 3 days was so I can get the nicest boxes I could find. I could get the designs ready. Anyway, I did the cakes, dropped them off. By the time I got home, I got a call on my mobile saying, "Would you like to come back and see Lady Elizabeth?" And I'm like, "Who's Lady Elizabeth?" But then I didn't ask her. I just kind of thought that in my head. So I went back to see Lady Elizabeth, and her name is Lady Elizabeth Anson, and she happened to be the Queen's cousin, the late Queen Elizabeth. That was her cousin. And I'm thinking, okay, this is interesting. And Lady Elizabeth said, look, I love the cakes, try them. They're exactly what I've been looking for after trying 10 other cake makers. Would you like to supply us with the cakes? And I said, great, this is fantastic. Obviously, I quoted way too low, as you do when you get your first big break. It was way too low. I was one of 3 cake makers for this particular event. So made the cakes, dropped them off a few weeks later. And then this is where the story for me gets very interesting. So I think a few weeks later, I get this beautiful handwritten note. And she said, the cakes were the best of the night. They were delicious. Thank you so much. And you can use this testimonial that I've just given you on all your marketing material. She didn't have to do that, but she did. She gave me that break, and I am so grateful because I still have that testimonial on her website. May God rest her soul. She is not with us anymore now, but I worked with her for, all through, for the last 16 years or so. I worked with her, not every week or whatever, but once in a while, she will call me, and I've been overly grateful. And I really believe in passing that on. So because I know she gave me a break, I was a complete unknown. There were other cake makers that they were big, but she chose to use me. And then this now, funnily enough, that encounter then led to something that I'm doing now. And because of her, as more and more doors were opening, I got to make cakes in many parts of the world. So my cakes were flown out to the Middle East, Europe, even parts of America. I could go on, but I won't. But I became a well-known cake maker, very well respected in my field, which I'm very grateful for. However, the one thing that then happened was that we had the pandemic, and the pandemic meant that nobody was coming to the UK. But again, I always say to people, your business should always have a side hustle project, a passion project with your business. So, and when you have your passion project with your business,
I want to stop you there for a second.
Okay.
What you have shared so far, I found myself leaning in, like physically leaning in, listening to you, because this is such an amazing journey that you have been on. But I want to stop right where you said your business should have repeat that again, because that is so profound.
Your business should always have a passion project. And the reason being, especially if you are in a creative business, or if you're in a business where it's all about automation, and your passion project, I believe, is what gives you the creativity and the innovation. That's where it's going to come from to feed your business. Because you're working in your business all the time, you are not in a position to objectively see what other people are seeing about your business. You would always think you're doing your best, which you are. However, without your side hustle passion project, you won't be able to step outside of your business and say, are we doing the best we can? Are we innovating? Are we elevating our brand? Are we elevating our products, our service? So because I had a passion project on the side, and that involved me, a lot of people asked me to become, to speak. So I'm a keynote speaker, and I was doing a little bit of coaching and mentoring on the side. So during the pandemic, I got so many calls from people saying, our businesses are a bit down. We don't know what we're going to do. So that got me down my passion, which was about helping businesses, and especially helping luxury businesses. And the one thing I didn't realize I had was I was able to identify the different types of luxury clients. Because a lot of people think that, oh, luxury client, they just have money. No, it's not just about the money, it's about other things. So again, during the pandemic, we all had a lot of time on our hands. So while I was busy coaching and mentoring and encouraging people and lifting people up, I was doing my little side project. So I went through all my emails, and there were thousands of them over 16 years, as you can imagine. I probably went through about 10,000. And then I batched them and I found the different types of luxury client. And this is actually what gave birth to my other business called the Luxury Business Emporium, where I talk about the different types of luxury client, how to find them, how to work with them so that you understand them a bit more. And the more research I did, because as a scientist, I believe in backing my theories with evidence. So the more research I did, I looked at books, I looked at journals, and not many people were talking about the different types of luxury clients. They'll tell you about luxury brands and they'll tell you about the big brands, but nobody was talking about small businesses in the luxury space, as well as the different types of luxury clients. So that's brought me to where I am right now.
You know, when I say I am often not speechless, there is there's just a lot going on inside of me right now concerning everything that you shared and just your presence and how I believe you have absolutely positively leaned into your purpose on this earth. It is almost unspeakable because I don't find too many people who have leaned in a way that is so authentic. And Elizabeth, I just have to say that you are one of those few people that I have found.
Thank you.
And I am almost speechless to the point where I'm thinking, what direction do I want to go in for the remainder of these few minutes that we're here? Because there's so much that I know. I'm just going to say this for those that are listening, if you're listening intently with purpose, new level unlocked if you choose to.
I
This
agree.
is this is one of those situations where if you choose a new level in you, your purpose, your business, everything that you put your hands to can be unlocked if you connect with Elizabeth. And I say that with all sincerity. I to the point where I can feel it. I have the goosebumps and everything.
Thank
I
you.
feel that in my spirit. And
Thank
I
you.
don't I don't do this often. You go back and listen to my previous episodes. I do not do this often, but I implore you, get in touch with Elizabeth because there are certain people who have an anointing to unlock what's been locked up inside of you, and she can unlock that for you.
Thank you. Thank you. I also have goosebumps because what you said is exactly what people say when I coach them or when I mentor them. They say, "Oh my God, do you know me?" Within half an hour, I will lay it out. I will give you a path. I will set you on, what you need to do. And when it comes to purpose, and this is why I feel so passionate about this. When it comes to purpose, the one thing I would hate is to leave this earth and know that there were certain things I could have done, but I didn't do it because of fear, because of what people would say, because people might make fun of me, because I don't know enough, because of my face, my race, my grace, because I don't have enough money, because of my background. Again, these, don't get me wrong, these always have an effect on us. They have an impact. However, I honestly believe that we can choose I tell people to do very tiny things at a time. So one of the things I tell people to do, for instance, is there are 24 hours in a day. If you take a tiny fraction of that, which is 15 minutes, I believe it's 14 seconds and 14 minutes and 38 seconds, but people say 15 minutes, set your timer, 15 minutes a day, no more than 15 minutes a day, and go and work on the one thing that you've always wanted to work on. So it might be your book, it might be maybe learning how to speak to people, whatever it is, 15 minutes, go and do it. No more than that. Because I think we underestimate what we can do in a day, and we overestimate what we can do in a year. So come 2024, this time 2024, I would love, for example, for your podcast to have reached, I don't know, I mean, I know right now there'll be listeners in the UK through me. I would love for your listeners to be all through Europe or to be in Australia, etc., etc. So this is the world we're living in now. We don't have that excuse anymore. I grew up at a time when there was no social media. And I grew up at a time where we had the rotary phone and et cetera, et cetera. So I've seen changes. And I believe that there is something new happening right now where we all have the opportunity to put ourselves out there and discover and find our purpose and not care what anyone thinks. Because at the end of the day, this is your life. You only have one life. So I strongly believe that is why I listen to your podcast, because it's about purpose, purpose, purpose. And you've never deviated from that message. You've been consistent. You've said it's about purpose. Everyone that you brought on as a guest has also reinforced that. And whenever I think of you, I think you're my purpose lady. So that is what I believe we should become as well. The one thing that we know is burning within us that we have the opportunity to do, because we might not get the opportunity. So, seize the day.
I am literally fighting back tears because you are the epitome of go be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what people don't understand is in your go be great, especially as a Black woman, let me just put this out on the table, especially as a Black woman, go be great is also reaching back and pulling those that are behind you forward.
Yeah.
But at the same time, those that may be in front of you, pushing them forward as well.
Absolutely.
And then also the ones that are beside you, making sure they stay the course. When I say, oh my God, thank you for the impact that you're making in this earth. Thank you for leaning heavily into your purpose. Thank you for being all that you are being. And there's still so much more of you to come. I mean,
Amen.
I understand fully everything that you're saying. I grew up also where there was no social media. We had the rotary phone. There was no such thing as call waiting. It was a busy dial tone, emergency breakthrough with the operator if you needed to get to that person. So
Yeah.
I fully understand all of that. There were no computers. I understand all of that. We worked with typewriters. That's how I learned
That's
how to use
right.
a typewriter. So I fully understand that, but yet in all of that there is a certain grace. It is so refreshing. You are refreshing just to sit and listen to you, not even speak to you, but to listen to you is
Thank you.
absolutely refreshing. So Elizabeth, tell us how we can get in touch with you, because I think at this point, if anyone is doubtful that you are the person they need to get in touch with, then they're just not ready. They're just not ready. You need to go get coach whomever because you need somebody that can hold your hand in regards of, and I don't mean to be dismissive. I'm just being very, very honest and forthright. If you're ready, but you may be doubtful, You may be a little fearful. You're just not very clear. All of these things, but you're ready. You're ready to take that leap of faith. You're ready to go into the unknown, even though you know you have more to give and offer this world. I implore you, if you listen to any other episode of mine, understand I don't care what level you are, you need to get in touch with Elizabeth immediately.
Thank you.
Because I know that I am going to be reaching out to you again at some point
Oh,
to work with you,
certainly.
because this is a partnership that, girl, you've got me now for life. I can tell
Thank
you
you.
that.
Same here, same here. And I love what you said about readiness levels. Not everybody is ready, and it's a journey. I love to give people grace, because some people, even if you drag them kicking and screaming, you can't force them to drink.
Right.
However, they need to work on their readiness levels. They need to work on precisely what it is that they want. And they need to be able to say, I am not going to let my circumstances dictate to me what my future is going to be. Because
Mm,
that is I do this series on future self, your future self, because we're living today in the present. The past is gone. We now have the present. But what excuse are you going to give your future self for not doing the things that you know you could have done? So I get people to write a letter to their future self.
yes. Yes.
Yes. So again, many people do that, write that letter to your future self. So in 5 years, in 3 years, in 10 years, you're living in the house of your dreams, you're having the relationships you want, you're running the business you want, you have the children of your dreams, whatever it is, write it down and make it active as if you are living that. But it doesn't just stop with writing the letter. Now the hard work begins. How do you start taking those steps? How do you, and for a lot of people, getting them out of that comfort zone, and maybe even suggesting that they're not surrounded by the right people, that alone in itself is a lot. Because we are pack animals. We love that community, but maybe you might be getting comfort in that community, but it's not helping you grow.
Right.
So, and there are things that people, oh my God, but I've known them since day one. They're my day one people. It's great to have your day one people around. However, for certain levels of growth, you need other people around you. Because when you wake up and you're excited and you want to do amazing things, and you've got this great idea, and people are telling you the risks, which they should, because that's their job to protect you. But then again, you need someone to be able to say, hey, that idea, let's do it. And this is how we're going to do it. Taking calculated risks, not stupid risks, not because there are risks that are stupid and there are risks that are calculated. And you go, okay. And then you need to, the Bible says, count the cost. So if you're going to do it, you should be able to say, what if I fail? And if I fail, is at the end of the world? You need to be able to risk failure. So I strongly believe that if you are ready, your readiness levels are there, and you want me to work with you, there are several ways in which I can work with you. Find me on LinkedIn, Elizabeth Solaru, very simple. Elizabeth Solaru, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm happy to link with people. I'm happy to take messages, DMs from people, and we can have a chat. That's it, really. And you said something that's very close to my heart about, being a Black woman in this world. We know what it's like without even having to say anything. We know what it's like. We know the journey. We know what we have to do to get to this point. I don't know what it's like in the US, but certainly in the UK. In the US, we feel at least you guys can talk about certain things. In the UK, it's not even encouraged at all to talk about certain things. Wow. We all pretend like, oh, there's nothing going on. Meanwhile, there's a lot going on. So yeah. So again, to anyone listening, you can reach out to me. I'm on LinkedIn as Elizabeth Solaru.
And I find this amazing because as those that have followed me for a while, you can see that my background is a little different.
Yeah.
Um, my lighting is not as great as it normally is. That's because last minute I had to travel to come and see family. And I considered postponing this recording, but something in me would not allow me to do that. When you're on your journey, when you have committed to your purpose, this is what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
By all means necessary. This may not be the best lighting. This is not what I'm accustomed to. I don't particularly care for it all that much. But I knew I needed to get on this recording. I knew I needed to connect with you. This is why. So I want people to understand what Elizabeth is saying when it comes to those levels of readiness. When you have certain levels of readiness, the distractions of everyday life, no matter how big or small, will not stop you. They will not take you off course. True,
Mm-hmm.
I could have, postponed and did it another day, but would the anointing and the grace have been in the conversation as it is right now?
Absolutely.
Probably, but maybe not. I am just so amazed. Elizabeth, any last words of wisdom that you would like to leave with the audience?
Yes, I would, again, that 15 minutes a day. I will urge you, this is 2023. We can all give 23 reasons why we can't do something,
Mm,
but in 2023, I don't want that. What I would love is I would love people to go away with, I always give very simple tasks, 15 minutes a day to work on the one thing that is your dream that you want to work on. And I will use myself as an example. I met with a friend yesterday. We had lunch, and I was saying I want to do something this way. She said to me, "But why don't you think about it another way?" So I thought I will take my 15 minutes and I will try her way. And I reached out to someone which ordinarily I wouldn't have reached out to. I literally uh, looked for the person on Twitter. This person was on Twitter. I reached out to him, and within 5 minutes, he got back to me and recommended me to somebody. So, my point is, if I wasn't ready to be open and accepting of what my friend said, I would have missed that opportunity by thinking, there's no way this person would have responded. I mean, this person is huge, and
mm,
they responded. So there was something, I just had a leading to do it this morning before I chicken out. And that's another thing. You need to do it before the doubt setting, the fear setting, and something will tell you, but what can 15 minutes do? 15 minutes is no time at all, but you can literally sit there watching Netflix for hours on end. So take that 15 minutes and do something. Just go out, and if you have to reach out to someone, do that. If you have to, say you're writing a book, write your 2 sentences or 3 sentences within 15 minutes, but do something, because 3 sentences every day for a month, it might equate to half a chapter. And
yes.
that's a chapter more than, and if you do a chapter every month for 12 months, that's your book.
Mm-hmm.
So, and people always underestimate how much they can get done in 15 minutes. So I'm urging you, these are powerful habits that you develop, because the habits is what makes us. So that would be my last words of wisdom. And if people want to know about, how to get those high-end clients, how to level up their businesses, etc., again, just find me on LinkedIn so we can have a conversation.
I love it. I love it. Elizabeth, thank you so much for being with us on the show today. Folks, this has been another great episode of Go Be Great. And you now have your homework, your 15 minutes a day, your 3 sentences for your book, whatever it is that you need to do, you now have your homework to get started. In addition to that, add to the top of that list getting in touch with Elizabeth on LinkedIn. One simple place. She's not all over the place where you have to go here, here, or here. One simple place. If you don't have a LinkedIn, create one just to get to her. Do need to do, because there's no more excuses those they give them.